Welcome back to Myra Raven 101, Myra's Life and Unsolicited Advice. And after a seat change and after a few months hiatus, I'm back with another video, back with another banger. So today we have
Asya and Brittany.
And you've seen that title. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe and click the bell. And I don't know if I'm going to title this, I graduated from college and I feel like a bum, or what kind of like clickbaity title I'm going to title this, but you get the drift. We went to school. I'm 1 year out from graduation, May 12th, and they're 2 years out. So we're going to answer a few questions that we've come up with. Congratulations to class of 2020. I'm sorry that y'all are graduating during this whole pandemic, but if you don't have the life that you feel like you thought you would have after, check out this video. We'll be sure to encourage you. God bless. So we're going to introduce ourselves. As I said, my name is Myra. I went to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, the first public uni. I graduated with linguistics. Well, no, I didn't. So y'all have to see a story time. I only graduated with one major, but I was there for an extra year to do a double major and a minor. So I did communication, and I graduated class of 2019 in May.
So I went to UNCG and I majored in elementary education and I graduated May 2018.
I went to ECU, the best school, in North Carolina.
I'm gonna let you have
We're supposed to be sad. Go ahead. It's
that. I
okay.
was about to say Brittany on brand for our video.
Not on brand.
And I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Public Health, Community Health Concentration. I work for a DME company, basically.
What's DME?
Durable Medical Equipment.
Period.
Point blank. Qualifying people for oxygen devices and CPAP machines. Just basically, I'm the middleman between insurance and the doctor's office, so I get them qualified through insurance so they don't have to pay as much.
I'm a 7th and 8th grade language arts and science teacher right now.
She's so professional. I work at a retail company. If you're close to me, you know which one. I also DoorDash. I do Postmates. I am not in my field. I am a nanny / babysitter caregiver person and a YouTuber. I think that's it.
Why did you choose the school that you went to?
I guess I'll go first since you asked it. I chose the school that I went to. I did a program called C-STEP. It's an acronym, Carolina Students Transfer Excellence Program. And it allowed me to get a 2-year associate and then transfer to Carolina in 2 years. I took 3. And mostly because when I graduated from high school, just to keep it a bean, keep it a buck, whatever language you want to use, I was never really the academic, scholarly type person. Like, I was smart, but I didn't really understand how good grades correlate to get into a nice school. Like, of course, like, you have dream schools, and I also wanted to go to A&T to be a golden delight. I was just everywhere, and as you can see, like, in my real life, like, I'm still everywhere. But I ended up learning about speech path my senior year. Didn't have the best grades. This allowed me to go to a great school.
So I chose UNCG for a couple of reasons, none of them super deep. So I didn't know if I actually wanted to go to college, so I didn't apply to colleges super early on. When I did finally start looking, there were only a few tours that fit my schedule and my mom's schedule. And so I toured UNCG. They had a lot of trees. They had a good education program.
Great,
so
stellar.
I just kind of chose it. It was the only school that I applied to. They had a lot of trees. Make that sound good.
Okay.
Edit it, please.
So I went to East Carolina University since 8th grade.
I'm crying.
Since 8th grade, I've kind of known that's where I wanted to go to school. I toured there with a group of people, and I feel like they kind of shaped me choosing that. I thought I wanted to be a nurse, and ECU is known for nursing. Obviously, I'm not doing that now. So I went there as an intended nursing major, and then ended up switching to public health, and I just kind of felt like I wanted to go to ECU for so long, so that's kind of not really a reason, honestly, but yeah. I've just known that that's where I wanted to go to school. So
yeah. Oh, one thing we left out is that we all somewhat have a different experience. My 2 best friends here, Brittany and Asya, I don't know why I act like I couldn't reach. They are brilliant human. I had a little to drink tonight. Brilliant human brain. Brilliant.
Really? That's what you told me outside?
Aaron's lended me up a drink. Shout out to Aaron.
Edit that.
No, I mean, I'm 21. Actually, I'm 24. I'll be 25 in December, halfway to 50. No, but, no, they're brilliant human beings, and I am old. And, like, Brittany graduated from high school early. Let's start there.
A year early.
A year early.
Class of 2014.
And Asia Brienne Taylor, Asia Brienne Taylor went to early college, and she has more associates than anybody I know. And more credits than anybody I know. And they came easily. They came easily, and that's on period. And I just went to traditional high school, and I did C-STEM.
Question, or the first real question, thank you, Myra, is how did you feel right after you graduated?
So right after I graduated, I actually was like happy because I was on top of the world. I'm not even gonna lie. A couple of months after graduation, it was kind of a wake up call. And it made me realize like this shit is real out here. Like I was paying for stuff and taking care of myself through college, but it's not the same. Like I don't know how to explain it, but it's really a wake up call once you graduate college, because you're like, what am I supposed to do next? Like growing up, I feel like, so going from middle school, high school, you knew I'm going to the next grade. After high school, I'm going to college. But after you graduate, like what's next? Like what do you do next? Like, so it's really just a wake up call, I feel like.
Yeah, and I think even for some people, like before that is like that, what do I do next? Is sometimes it feels like you're,
but at least you know you're going to class. I'm going to class.
Yeah, that's the one thing that was constant.
You're going to class, so.
Yeah. How did you feel, Asia, being right after you graduated?
So I think it was
Inserts picture
of what?
of your graduation pictures.
Oh.
You can do that? Yeah, I can edit. Y'all, they don't watch my videos. Clearly. I'm the editing queen.
I've been watching them in the background. That's why I watch all YouTube videos now, because I'm such a busy woman. So after graduation, it was a difficult time for me. Like immediately after, because sorry, I'm a teacher. Because I've always loved school. School has been my hobby, my extracurricular, my sport all my life. And I was used to having that structure of praise and affirmation coming from authority figures. And all of a sudden that completely stopped for the first time since I was 5 years old. And so I had this moment of, there is no one to give me an A. There's no one to tell me that I'm right. I don't have a peer group anymore. And so I went from being an intern in someone else's classroom to immediately having my own. I went from working at McDonald's to being in charge of other people's kids and having to make my own curriculum and doing all this prep. And so for me, it felt like I didn't have a transition period. And it felt like a ton of pressure. And I was
out there. Going out there.
And I was losing sight of who I was, because for so long I was Asia the student, and I was no longer going to be Asia the student. And so it hit me like the day after graduation, like, okay, there are no more professors, no more syllabi, no more textbooks. It's me on my own doing what I've been preparing to do for 4 years, but there's no one. I don't have that network or that community of support anymore. So it was difficult for me from the day I graduated to now.
My experience, it was mixed emotion. Because like I said in the beginning, I may have to do a story time on my UNC experience in general. But I went there knowing I wanted to major in linguistics and then speech and hearing sciences as my minor, which you apply to get into. But because I entered in this period where I couldn't take the class in the sequence, that wasn't helpful to me. And as I told you, I wasn't the academic kid. I've always known how to finesse a system. As you see, like I literally graduated high school like a 2.8, just keeping it in the B. And I think I graduated with college with that too. Hey, grad school. all grad programs are like, you need a 3.0. So literally it's just like, I was kind of overwhelmed. I took an extra year to get something that I didn't get the whole major and minor. I just got one major, and it was like the major that everyone said, communication studies, was like so easy and all the football players do it. So you have all these doubts and feelings, but at the same time, I had an advisor who would not let me drop comm. And I wanted to drop comm and just focus on Ling. And if I would have done that, I may have still been a student today, which there's no harm in taking an extra year, but you do feel slighted. You do feel some type of way when it's time for everyone to graduate and not you.
I feel like
so
advisors kind of play a part in it, because a lot of times they discourage you too.
Yeah.
Like, they tell you can't do something.
Yeah.
Or you can't.
And I had to fight with like
Yeah.
my speech and hearing sciences minor that I didn't graduate with because like 1.2 of a point. Like that was in School of Medicine. You have to apply to it. So as a transfer student, I'm going in and I'm telling them, hey, I'm already in. And I had advisors like pushing back that I wasn't. And then I didn't get to take it in a sequence. So it was kind of like hard to create. I feel like if I would have made more community in that space, and if I would have been a little bit better prepared, the outcome would be different, which is a bit discouraging. Because I literally just told my mom the other day, like, a lot of the people, I was the vice president of the org for speech and hearing, and the president that I was with, she just graduated with like, she's a speech language pathologist now. People that were like, you know what I'm saying? In my same circle, they're doing what I want to do. And like, they're getting their masters and stuff. And it doesn't help that they're all white women. Yeah. So it feels really discouraging. So I can't say, I think the happiest I was on graduation legitimately was like seeing Asia and seeing my friends that came to support me and made it a big deal for me. Hell, I was happy when I won Miss UNC than when I graduated. Yeah. But just because of like, and then I was dealing with a crazy guy who was trying to basically blackmail. That's a story time. Blackmail me into some things that I had did with him, sexually trying to blow up my spot. So then I told my professor that, and he still didn't help me out with those 1 point something points, and it was just. I mean,
I feel like they're also not as understanding.
Not at all.
Like, they don't care that you have personal.
And I'm trying to think. I don't even think I posted graduation. I think I posted.
Maybe it's your story, but nothing official.
Yeah, it was never on my Instagram and stuff because I was butthurt. And even I tell Asia to this day, like, I get ashamed and I feel slighted because I didn't graduate with what
but you
I was
still
supposed to.
There's a lot of people that have so much that have nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
There's so many people.
But then it's like the whole nothing to show for it thing is like, I tell my friends often, it's one thing like comparison on social media and everything like that. But internally, I just feel like, you know, as an OL, as an RA, as all these things I did on campus, I poured into all these other people's lives. And where was my own cut for myself? Where was my own lookout for myself? While I struggle with self-care in college, I often put other people before myself, whether it was my students, my residents, girls that were interested in speech. Maybe if my grades were high enough in other places, I would be in a different space. So it's just like, I don't know. It's tough.
It is tough.
I feel like the fact that just other people discouraging you and stuff, that should be what motivates you to actually prove them wrong. Yeah. Like for me, because I was like my advisor, I intended nursing. I decided on my own that I didn't want to do the after chemistry, but I'm like, I was trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do after school, and I thought public administration, healthcare administration, occupational therapy, because I took a class. And I'm like, my advisor honestly kind of discouraged me from some of those things, but then I sat and thought, and I'm like, if it's something that I really wanted to do, I wouldn't have let her do that. So that's why I feel like those weren't the paths that I needed to be on, because regardless of what she said, because my GPA in college was not nearly as good as it was in high school, clearly. Because
Brittany was brilliant. I mean, you're still brilliant. So, but,
and I'm like, which sucks, because I feel like your GPA is definitely not a measure of how smart you are. It's really, especially in college, it's how you retain information.
And how you push through everything else that's going on.
Yeah, it's really how you retain information, because I'm like, it's not a measure of how smart you are. But anyway, so yeah, I feel like if it's something that you really want to do, in my case, that obviously wasn't, because her telling me, you can't do this. Okay, I can't. Yeah. And so I feel like that's also hard, because you don't really know what to do next. You don't know what, so.
Yeah. I think I was telling Asia the other day, like, and I told you this today too, like, to me, it's hard to figure out, like, what discernment is when it comes to something being so difficult for me, meaning it's a challenge or something I can work through, versus something being not the right puzzle piece for me, not where I'm supposed to be. So I have a hard time discerning.
What were your professions after you graduated up until now, and how do you feel about them?
Who wants to start?
Mine's very boring.
So when I first got out of college, I was actually working from home I was an independent contractor for a company, just doing customer service stuff. And I ended up leaving it. I ended up moving back home, by force, because the real world slapped me in the face. So I moved back home, and, when I moved back home, so we ended up having to, so I lost my job from home because basically we were without power and no power, no internet, and I needed internet to work. So I lost my job working from home, so I ended up going to get a job at a hotel. I worked for the hotel for, it would have been a year in March, but I ended up getting a second job in October, where I work now doing the healthcare paperwork and stuff. Honestly, that has nothing to do with my field whatsoever. I feel like I got the job just because I had a degree. I'm definitely not getting paid what I should be getting paid with my degree. And honestly, if I moved somewhere else or worked somewhere else, I probably could be getting paid more. But right now, it's paying the bills.
Survival.
Yeah, I'm honestly just trying to survive. It's not the worst job because I was unhappy working from home because my degree is community interaction, community health. So I miss the face-to-face interaction, and that's really what I enjoy the most, helping people and actually getting to interact with people face-to-face. So it's not ideally what I want to be doing, but my job makes a difference because people need to breathe. So
period.
So my job makes a difference.
Yeah.
So the fact that I'm helping people stay alive, I guess, makes me happy right now, and it's paying the bills. So until I find something else and figure out what I'm passionate about, that's what I'll be doing. So
yeah.
So after graduation, I think I worked at McDonald's for another like week or two, honestly. And then I worked at Subway just over the summer. And then I got a job teaching 7th grade English. And then I moved to the school that I'm at right now, which is where I'm teaching English and science. So I've stayed within my field the whole time, but I'm not completely happy with the work that I've done so far.
you gotta grow on the job though.
Yeah.
I mean, me too,
But I feel like you're told that if you follow the script, if you follow the path you're supposed to follow, that you're supposed to end up somewhere where you have fulfillment. And I feel like I got the degree that matches the job, and I work the job, and I'm still not like feeling 100% fulfilled with what I'm doing right now. But it's hard with teaching because when you sign a contract for an entire year, you know, and so it's hard to find the courage to move or to change what you're doing, because
that's a big commitment.
Yeah, because if you stay where you are, it's a full year of security, you know? And so I'm just in this space where I'm trying to figure out what's more important to me, like short-term security or long-term happiness, and at what cost.
Yes, Asia. Well,
I love you.
After they already do. That's probably my first video. Did so well. So after I graduated, I decided that I was not gonna go right into grad school because my senior year I ran for homecoming, I did all this stuff, blah blah blah, and it would be hard to put together a competitive application. So then I went to a job fair. It was like 2 weeks after they had a job fair. I saw Target, I saw Teach for America, I saw Advising Corps, all these different companies. And matter of fact, I had something to do that day, so some of the tables were already down. And I looked into Teach for America, I applied with them. Advising Corps, I decided to put away my Advising Corps application because I was going to do Teach for America. Ended up getting Tulsa, Oklahoma, ended up interviewing with some amazing schools, charter and public, and predominantly Black areas. If you didn't know, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street is there, because most people thought when I was going out there that I would be the only get along little doggy Black person out there. It's not true. That ended up not working for me because they weren't providing enough funding for me to go. I had an advisor pay for one of my practice tests. They were going to reimburse me, but how many of you know reimbursement is not the same as paying for it? Because I still have to have the money up front and take that out of my pockets. I was already working. How many jobs did I work in college? 3. And sometimes keeping people's kids, but whatever. And so that ended up falling through for me. Then I really didn't have anything, so I ended up like back home, and then like kind of at my grandma's house. And then I found out about Duke Tips, a talent identification program. Shout out to my kids, or the kids that weren't my kids that watch my channel. And I worked there for a month with no training. I literally got there, like they called me and said I got the job. I was there the next day or 2. I had 2 groups, no training. I just do kids very well. So we made do what we had to do with like our petty cash and making sure they had fun activities when they weren't in their summer classes. So came home after a month of that. So that was June, July. That was in Athens.
I was in Atlanta when you were moving up there for my birthday.
It was in Athens, Georgia. And then after that, I found out about insurance. I got certified life, health, accident, and sickness. And then I had to find me a place really quick. And I'll just tell y'all because y'all from Atlanta. And so I worked for that company for about 2 months. They did a lot of unethical things because we were trying to get like union members, labor members to get life insurance, but it was supplemental and most people already had what their job gives them. And how many of you know if you can't afford to live, you can't afford life insurance? I'm not going to tell you to take money away from your now for your later. Life insurance is important, but some of the things they said to undocumented citizens and different things really did not sit well with me. And so I left there after 2 months. So when I had crab legs, that's in a vlog. We went and had crab legs. And then after that, I ended up working for DoorDash, Postmates. What else did I do? Yeah, we should do a mukbang. And then DoorDash, Postmates, I got December seasonal, but they had me on full time. I literally had like 7 W-2s. And so I think oftentimes I get defeated because I feel like I'm doing all this shite that I could have been doing before even graduating high school. But the goal is still.
You don't get to the money by any means, clearly.
I've been getting to the money.
That's all.
Everybody, man, hey. But yeah, it feels discouraging at times. I can't even cap. My low days are really low. But then I look back and like they said, like I've done a lot and I've been able to survive. And my parents still help me, but not nearly as much as if I just decided to give up and not do anything when things didn't go my way after I graduated in the way that I did.
Cut action. What do you feel your college degree / experience has done for you? I can start this one. I feel like with a job like teaching where you have to have a certain degree in order to do it, it's very obvious that my degree gave me my career. It was a very clear-cut transition for me. So I feel like no matter the ups and downs of my day-to-day experience at UNCG, there are ways for you to be an educator without having an education degree.
Like me, if someone gave me the chance,
yeah, you could do lateral entry. But I feel like UNCG gave me experience and the background knowledge necessary to be the type of educator right now in this moment that I want to be. So I think it was beneficial in that aspect. But I feel like the experience as a pre-service teacher of color at UNCG, don't give me that, could have been 10 times better. There are times where I wish I had gone to a historically Black college, but I do appreciate the fact that the piece of paper that I got from UNCG is what's making me able to sit in the spaces that I'm sitting in with kids.
Period. That's a mouthful.
Answer after that.
Experience has done for you.
Nothing for real.
Nah, ran up some dick.
Go ahead, tell him. Tell him. Nothing, ran up some dick.
No, that was for real though.
Go ahead.
No, I feel like it did run up some debt.
Yeah.
This is the most expensive piece of paper that I own.
Yeah.
Period. Cardstock. Baby boy, baby girl. And that little folder do not fold when it comes to the mail.
No, so I feel like it didn't necessarily open any doors for me because I am not using my degree. I feel like it could if I moved to the right area. I also feel like the fact that I have a degree from ECU, the fact that the school that I chose holds weight. I feel like college in general though made me realize a lot about myself. So it's not necessarily what the degree did for me, but I just feel like the whole college experience, I kind of got out of my shell because I had to interact with all types of people. I had to get comfortable with speaking in public, and not being scared to just approach somebody. So I feel like college in general kind of just made me realize things about myself. As far as the degree, because I'm not doing anything in my field, it didn't necessarily open any doors. And because my major is so broad, there wasn't a straight path like with Asia. She knew she was going to teach because that's what she went to school for. Mine is so broad, so I could literally be doing anything with it. So it didn't really, not that it doesn't make a difference, because I don't want to say that, because I don't want to discourage anybody from going to school, but
we'll get into it later, but
yeah,
it wasn't necessarily what you...
Yeah, I mean, definitely get a degree. Like, I'm not telling people to not go to school, but it's just not a straight path. Like,
and it'll continue to not be a straight path, because I think for me, what do I think it did for me in the moment when I have my low days and when I sit and think about the career that I don't feel like I have, I feel like it didn't do anything for me but create that. But when I look back on the social experience, one thing I will say, socially, I got a lot out of the Carolina experience. So much. And I piggyback with you. When I wish I could have gone to PWI and HBCU simultaneously, or had both of those experiences, and not as a form of comparison, but I think they both give two different experiences. And I think that just like even the Black spaces at UNC, and like even being a transfer student and being this Black girl in these speech path classrooms where it was just me, and being an orientation leader in all these spaces, there were people that were in the wellness office. There were people in all different places in space. Like I told you, my advisor paid for my praxis that really connected to me and really were able to do things for me that my parents weren't. And not because my parents weren't good, but sometimes it takes a person completely separate from your normal to speak life into you, or to ask you those challenging questions of what you really want out of life. And you don't necessarily know the answer, but one thing I said, my advisor, shout out to Chloe Russell, she's not gonna like that I did that, but I sat in that office and sometimes I would cry, we'd laugh, and she would ask me things and I wouldn't necessarily have the answer, but it gave me something to think about that was real in my life and that mattered. So that's the one thing that I can say I got a lot out of the experience, and I feel like that was where I was supposed to be in those moments. And also, I'm in a field, like Brittany says, it's a wide path. So I already knew going in, like, you have to get a master's degree to be a speech language pathologist. But I just thought it was going to be graduated from UNC, applies to grad school. Because like I said, I'm a finesser. I can make a way out of no way. Like when it came to working and stuff, I've been working since I was 14 years old. I was working under table at this ladies at home daycare, and I always found a way to do something. I've always been outgoing and active. So I just thought all the puzzle pieces were going to connect right away, and they're not. And that's where I'm having a challenge right now in my life.
Next question is, how do you feel college was portrayed to you? I don't know why we're sitting here like we didn't know this was going to be a question.
Because that's what you're supposed to do. Like you can't come out and be like, well, you can't be like Miss America. You have to be like,
like think about
you have to chew on the question.
Right.
How's it portrayed?
I feel like growing up, especially growing up Black,
say that again.
Growing up Black,
say that again.
You're going to college or you're going to the military. Like that's
or
kind
work.
Of
and then you'll see that work is not really anything without
without the education. So I like for me, school was easy for me. And I'm good. I was good at it. So I'm like, I'm going to college. Like I wanted to make my parents proud. So I feel like basically you're brainwashed into thinking college is the only way out. I feel like.
Or it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Right. You don't want to be home sitting there not doing anything, like wasting your life away.
And it has fun moments. Like portrayed in the media, like ooh, college, drinking, parties, all that stuff.
But it's definitely not the only way out. Like me and you were talking about earlier, some people just get lucky. And they don't have the education. They don't have to go to school. Some people
generational wealth.
Yeah, some people don't even finish high school.
Old money, you have slaves.
And they get lucky.
And stop having your weddings on a plantation while I'm at it. I'm sorry.
And or they just, create an app or do something and the right person sees it and then they're just billionaires.
People.
Yeah, they go on TikTok and go, my hips TikTok when I dance. But like we were saying, like, I think I said earlier, or like they have a job, like, I don't know, like, because my mom was really like military job in college, and you'll see that whatever job you'll get, like, you can't move up or you can't do anything without a degree, but that's not always true. Like you said, some people get lucky, or they have a skill or a trade, or their parents have a business, or they're something, and they get to just sweep in, and it feels like, I want to fight you.
And then I also feel like with us as Black women, because we're already minority, that's just two things against us. So I just feel
double
like
jeopardy.
We feel like we kind of feel like we have to go to school. Yeah. Because what else?
That gives us, it seems like it gives us one thing away from the negatives that we have.
Like, we're educated. Like, what else? Like, we already have to deal with.
You can't say I'm uneducated.
Yeah, right.
Right. I felt a lot of pressure to go to college from the very beginning because both of my parents went, but had to drop out because both of their moms got sick. And so the message that was always sent to me was, you are living a life that is so that you don't have to worry about that. And so because that's not a concern for you, my expectation is that you go and you flourish and you follow on this path. And that was intensified because, like Brittany said, I was good at school and I loved school, and I had 5-year goals when I was in high school. And so for me, there was no other option outside of college because I'm not naturally good at networking, and I don't have a skill that's profitable in the like traditional sense. Like, I can't do hair, or I can't fix cars, or any type of trade that I can quickly turn into a business. And so for me, it was like, okay, Asya, you have this skill set, but you can't do anything with it. You can't hone it or master it without a degree to help you. And so I would hear things like, well, if you don't go to college, Asya, you're going to be sitting in Craven Terrace looking stupid. Or you're going to be, that's exactly what like I would hear from people. Or they would be like,
teachers would also say that McDonald's stuff.
And you're going to be working at McDonald's, or you're going to be just like I'm not going to say my family member's name, but just like a certain family
we
member.
We know,
right? And sitting there looking stupid, sitting there looking at
having
me,
somebody's babies.
Right.
And so, system.
Right. And so the expectation was, if you're going to be the type of Black woman that I want you to be, you're going to go to college. And that's just not, and it was never explicitly stated, but there is this expectation, like, you have a way out and it's your brain. So use it and go to college. But people never cared about what happened to you after that.
Yeah, or what you even went to college to do. Whatever you do, you just better go. And it don't matter how you're going to pay for it. I may not even help you pay for it, but you go. And I think that really, like,
and then they like to take credit for you finishing after the fact.
I don't have that experience, but I just feel like it's just so. I think about, like, with our kids and stuff, like, how is the conversation going to be different? What is it going to look like? Because I will say that between my parents' generation and I, like, my mom went to school, my dad went to the military, and they created a good life. If we had any disparities, we didn't know it. But at the same time, like, my mom is business administration, and so I was, filling out an application for her this weekend, this week, and like, literally the job description was a bachelor's in business administration. No, like, very few jobs that I want or that are passionate to me say, like, bachelor's degree in, like, at this point you need more, and then they want experience, and then you can volunteer, you can do all these things, and then also, like you said, like, you're not good with networking, but networking in the way of the world, like, some of these jobs people already got in the pocket, like they know the right people to get them. So it's just, I don't know. But basically, you hear us saying, like, where we're from, like, it's just an expectation that if you're going to be a good Black citizen, like, especially girls, because I don't think a lot of my Black guy classmates, they don't have this type of pressure, or, like, they went to, like, I know it's a little bit of them that, like, it's just a little, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we could probably name all of our classmates that are Black guys that went to school, and that's sad. Not sad, but like
a lot of them go into the military.
Yeah,
a lot of them go because that's not seen as because a lot of them were athletes. So
yeah, they could just turn it, flip it, and reverse it. It's show if you find it.
That's what I would do if I was skinny.
Heck, I thought about it. I just gotta go, y'all. I gotta go. I've been on a few days visiting her, and I gotta go.
I wonder how our experience would have been different if we had been in a bigger city.
Yeah.
Because I feel like our options were limited because we're where we are.
Yeah.
Because there's really, I mean, there's very little you can do. You can start your own salon, and that's super profitable. You could, like, work in the auto industry, and that's really profitable here. But I'm trying to think of what other things there are for young people here.
And really only health.
Healthcare.
That's really
Yeah,
it.
healthcare.
And like, but then people already have those with like Howard's house. What's it called?
Anybody.
Them.
I work for them in Greenville though.
What's the other one over there by the pig? Piggly Wiggly. There's a little house, home health care. Like that's really
There's
it.
a lot of them.
You see people getting their CNAs and doing that, and I am by no means ishing on you. I can ish on my own self. That's great, but we're just saying
Not
like
everybody's meant to be a nurse.
not everybody's
Go
going to be
ahead
one,
and say it.
and we're just saying those are the ones that are
I'm
most.
thinking about like in Charlotte, if somebody were, they went to like an artsy type of high school.
And they have like Charlotte schools.
Yeah.
And like Eastern
right.
Carolina.
And so these
are
kids come
set.
out and they have so many options, and
Just
they have
moving out there after
things.
college though, because the girl has the same degree I have, and she living her best life.
Right,
Yeah.
because
Like,
there's more stuff around. If you want to be in social media, if you want to be an influencer, if you want to do social media like marketing stuff, those are options that you can do with the skill set that you have out of high school elsewhere. There's no market for it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like because of that, our parents didn't see any other options for us, even if they recognized skills within ourselves.
How to articulate that and
Right.
develop and nourish that.
Because there was no market for it. There was nowhere for us to
mama
go
just got
with
a
that.
smartphone.
I feel
She
like
can't
my
text.
parents
Don't tell them
didn't
Mark,
really pressure. Like I pressured myself. Like I was so hard on myself. I gotta be in school one time and I cried for
super
days.
smart.
Yeah.
Super
I
smart.
cried.
Not me.
I got my first
B's,
in college.
C's, D's,
Oh, yeah.
and F's.
Yeah.
Like,
They're so
I
smart.
literally was depressed
It's
for days
earth-shattering.
because I got a C in college, and people
Yeah.
were like, "C's get degrees," and now I realize
Yeah, they
C's
do.
get degrees.
They do, but
I
still.
thought my
Period.
life
I'm a big
was
fat
over.
C.
Yeah.
So no, but I'm like, I feel like it wasn't more so my mom because she didn't have to be hard on me. Like I was myself. Like
Yeah.
I missed one thing.
I
on
tried
the
to be,
test
but I
and
just
cried.
wasn't smart. I wasn't. I didn't care to be. I was too busy
Like I
being with the
cared, like I
Sunside
cared,
boys.
I cared like that.
Don't
I'm like, and
tell me.
I wasn't all in the books and stuff, and I had a life and stuff, but I just cared. When I
Y'all,
didn't
they
get
cared, and they're sharp as a tick as a whip.
Sharp as a
You don't
tick as a
want to know
whip.
my college GPA.
Well,
Right?
I
Sharp
mean,
as nothing.
It's fine, but
Yeah.
no, I think
But
going to
it
what you
doesn't
said though, like
matter.
our parents didn't necessarily like, just like what you said, they didn't,
No.
they can't push and prod and tell us because even
I
my
just
mom,
feel- I feel
she'd be
like
like,
we
you're
just
doing the
had
best you
something to
could,
prove.
like, but at the
From
same
early
time,
age.
I'm seeing everybody else getting D's lists and I got it once.
Yeah.
Like I was pissed, pretty
I
petty.
feel like honestly, I feel like there's certain groups of people that I wanted to be better than.
Mm.
Or just as good, if not better, but yeah.
Yeah.
The pale people,
Yeah.
but let them know.
But I'm like, what you said, Brittany?
Cause I just told you, I saw him on Facebook this weekend,
Yeah.
graduating and getting into master's school, and I'm upset.
Upset.
And it's not an upset from jealousy, but
Just- especially
it's just
with
like,
having
it would be
two
nice. I work hard too. It would be
Right.
nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Call a therapist.
Are we ready for the next one?
I'm upset.
How do you uplift yourself when you get discouraged, when you think about your college experience and where you are now?
Whew.
It's okay to cry.
No, I ain't crying, girl.
She wants you to cry. It'll be good for views. Good. She said that.
No, for real. I'm not
Not a
even gonna
tear.
front though. Today was a bad day for me, but no bad days. This is my socks.
Show them. Can they read them?
No, come
Put
on.
that leg up.
Can you insert a picture?
Okay, so I gotta take a picture of her thumbnail and her socks.
Yes. And put it right here.
So, honestly, I'm learning now since this year came in to cope more with my emotions. I have a really great support system as far as friends and my mom. So I have a lot of friends that are going through the same thing as me. So I feel like just talking to them before this COVID stuff, I was looking into therapy because I feel like that's really important. Because we, just as Black people, a lot of people don't take mental health seriously. So therapy, just finding hobbies and things to do is important. Just keeping your mind off of I guess that depressive state is really important. Not allowing yourself to get in that rut and that funk is really important. And just improving and growing, finding new things.
I look like there's a helicopter on my head. Asia Beja.
It was recorded for YouTube. Video, not kill.
I don't care. How are you?
I'm fine.
You talking about therapy and all different things.
Talking to your friends, etc.
Yeah, just talking about how we cope.
Exercising is way to cope, but I ain't started that yet.
No, ma'am, no, sir.
Sassy time. How do you cope, Asia B?
So I think for me, I dealt with a lot of guilt surrounding my unhappiness with my career for a little bit of time because it's like I have a job in my career field. And so sometimes I felt like I didn't have space to be unhappy and I didn't have space to feel empty because from the outside looking in, everything looked like it was exactly what I wanted it to be. And sometimes giving yourself that perspective of you do have a lot. Stop it, Brittany, you're distracting me. Sometimes having that perspective of saying like, okay, I do have something, like a little piece of what I eventually want is what kept me afloat. But now I find the most therapeutic thing I can do is thinking towards what's going to make me happier. And so I'm researching master's programs in school psychology and just trying to envision a future. You're distracting me, Brittany. Trying to envision a future that looks like what I want my future to look like is what I do on the days where I'm like, man, I really don't feel fulfilled. You know, just thinking through the steps that will eventually get me there and then giving myself grace and giving myself plenty of time to get to those points.
Yeah. I was like, Brittany, today was a low day. Now, it wasn't my lowest day. My low lows be low. But I think I kind of look back and you have to look at things differently. I don't like the little saying, look at it half empty, half full, whatever. Look at it how it feels to you. Process through those emotions. If you need to cry, if you need to vent, take a nap, anything that doesn't involve self-harming is where I'm at because those feelings are real. And I think sometimes it's easy to feel guilty because, like, especially my dad, like, in the way he came up, like, when he was younger, he had to give part of his check to his family. And, you know, he didn't get to go off to school and he had, like, it's easy as, especially as a Black person, or speaking from my experience specifically, my grandparents and what they had, I feel guilty for feeling how I feel, like Asia said. But process through those emotions, talk to different people. Also know when you need to be alone, like, because you're no good going around people, especially your friends and people that you love, when you're, like, not in a good space. You can end up saying things, doing things that you don't necessarily mean. So I think it's important to take that time and then kind of look forward to, like you said, Asia, like what you plan to do, or even like appreciating what you have in the now. And when, on your good days, try to put it together on how you can get out of it, because yes, no one asked to be here, you know what I'm saying? I was an accident baby, allegedly. My mom got hurt 2 spots after me, and I feel some type of way. But like nobody asked to be here, but you can't I can't be mad at my parents. I can't, at a certain point as a grown person, you have to pick up your ish and decide what you're going to do with it, because no one's going to feel sad for you, no one's going to work for you, no one's going to, and I know I have expensive taste, so I got to get up and do something. That's why I had a million jobs. So that's how I deal with it. But you really got to deal with those emotions, and I definitely am looking into therapy too, because there were some people that UNC probably saved sis' life, because sis was low, especially after my granddad died. Woo, that was tough. That was tough. Experiencing loss in college is tough. I had some friends who lost parents, all kinds of stuff. So again, not necessarily looking at anyone else's situation and be like, oh, I'm grateful that happened to me, but just looking at your own situation, and the same way you pick apart things about how bad it is and how you didn't decide to do that, pick apart things that are good and things that you did do. Thank you, Jesus. I'm about to catch a spirit.
Please don't. I mean, but do it quietly. I wish Luna was here to play the organ for us, y'all.
We are on our last question. Pregunta.
So do you see yourself going back to school for your master's degree?
Go ahead, Brittany. Look at your eye roll.
Whew, Lord, that's a tough question. Okay, I feel like I kind of have to go back to school for my master's. I don't know what I want to go back to school for right now. I'm thinking social work, which is completely different than what I went to school for. But I really have a passion to make a difference in people's lives. So I feel like I can make the most change and the most difference in that field. I don't know nothing about social work, I'm not even gonna lie. But for some reason, that's what has been like
On your heart.
Yeah, for some reason that's really been on my heart. I don't have any type of background in it. I thought I wanted to do occupational therapy because I like old people. And that's who I want. I'm serious.
That was supposed to sound so sweet. Speak your truth.
I do like old people.
Old people are old people. I love old people and
I did my
babies.
high school graduation project on nursing home stuff, so I really like old people. So I wanted to do occupational therapy and work with the elderly population, but I have sis got a bad back, so I can't be listening to them old people. So I really think I want to go back and get a master's in social work, and because I've dealt with depression and anxiety heavy, I feel like the therapy field is where I would go. Obviously I got to get my mental right to help other people, but I feel like that's what I should be going back to school for. I ain't figured out how I'm gonna do it yet because I'm in debt, but I'll get it done. So most probably I'll probably go back to school.
Yeah.
So I do want to get my master's, but I don't want to do the traditional thing that a lot of classroom teachers do, where they either go where they go towards administration. I don't want to be an administrator.
It flew up.
Sorry.
Bye. I think I need to wait another 2 or 3 years. Excuse me, let me check my Apple Watch. Oh, look. Stand goal. You've reached your stand goal, Big Daddy Chocolate Brown. I said it to call me that years ago. So I think I need to wait a few years to decide exactly what I'm going to do for my master's degree, because every time I interact with a student, I think, oh my God, it'd be great if I had a master's in special ed, or oh my God, I wish I had a master's in social work, or oh my God, I wish I had more classes in human. What? Social work? I got you covered. And there are times where I interact with a kid and I'm like, oh man, human development, family studies, that'd be great. Or I wish I had been trained to be a librarian because it would really help me with research. And so there's always something new that I want to do.
You just want to do it all.
I know.
And she's also an educator, so she loves, she's a student of her own craft.
Yeah. And I do love the field of education because in order to thrive, you have to constantly be learning. There's always new professional development. There's always a new book, always a new method coming out. And so I think that just drives my hunger for more. But right now in this moment, what I'm thinking of, because my ultimate goal is to work in a juvenile detention center or in a prison, teaching literacy of some type. And so I've been looking into different programs that will help me get to that point. But I think having a basic understanding of school psychology for older students would really help me in that situation. So right now, that's what I'm thinking. But I want another 3 or 4 years of just teaching before I make a decision, because that's expensive.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you were talking about volunteering. Did you do that? No, you were talking about volunteering. They sent you the thing.
Oh yeah. So I was supposed to volunteer at a program that does restorative justice for kids who are in the juvenile detention center. And once they finish the program, their sentences are lowered or their charges are dropped. But because of coronavirus, the program is like on pause right now.
I'm sorry, Cardi B.
And so but yeah, so it's kind of put a pause on me envisioning exactly what my future will look like, but I know it's going to be something education related, and I know it's not going to be administration.
Period.
That is not my ministry.
About that, because she was talking about how she wants to level up, but that's what a lot of them do. They start in the classroom and they work up into administration, and I think oftentimes the hope is that like, oh, you can change stuff, but like the system, public school system especially, is just so raw that it's just like, I don't want to say you as one person can't change it, but it just takes a lot of work, and it's not necessary. I feel like not to compare which is better, but it's just like you have to pick your thing you want to fight. Would you rather fight physically and help these many kids' lives, or do you want to be preparing something that the next generation has to keep working for and the next generation has to keep working for?
Yeah, I agree. I want to be in the classroom with kids no matter what I do. I just don't know where those kids will be and what we'll be doing.
Yeah.
But with kids always.
Period.
Yeah, I want to change universal, make universal health care.
I know.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Love the kid.
I'm never going to the emergency
For
room.
real, but
Yeah.
Do I want to go get my master's degree?
you kind of have to, right?
And you want to.
Tell Brittany she can't fuck with this answer question.
You just said it.
But you want to.
but-
She
did.
They not from this.
But TBH, I've been thinking about getting a birth through kindergarten. And I've been thinking about other ways. I told both of them in different conversations that the one thing I see when I see my future and manifest, and I don't talk to the universe or my ancestors, I talk to the big God. And
That's not on me. Don't be rubbing my stomach.
I see literally. No,
Yes,
I
know.
see,
I was like, I don't want one. You
I
want
see
one?
a baby's room. I see me having a home or having something, and there is a kid's room. And I don't know if that's supposedly, I've been looking into foster to adoption, even though that system, I don't know if I could take it, because if you bring me a child in the middle of the night, I keep them for a week to years, and you take them away from me. That's a hard attachment thing. But I've also, since I was little, I told my mom I wanted to adopt. I've also learned about how you can have your own speech language pathology home, like you can bring your practice in your home. I've also thought about in-home daycare, turning it into a daycare center, which is all like birth through kindergarten. I left this out, I had a job as an NC pre-K teacher, but lateral entry had changed for pre-K and elementary by the time that I came on the scene. So they liked us a lot. Even with my nose ring, even with me looking and being how I am, they liked me a lot, but it didn't work out. And it was in a predominantly black county, and but that's the one thing I know, kind of like Asia, kids always. So, but I think I would be of the most use to the communities I want to serve if I fight for that degree. And kind of like you were saying, Asia, like, I know I'm not the smartest, but I know I could do it. And so I feel obligated, because I think it's like maybe 7 or 8% of speech language pathologists universally are people of color, and it's even lesser that are black. And so when it comes to the dialects, when it comes to literacy, when it comes to testing, the materials are few, and they're biased to either over test or under test our kids, and always they get the least amount of resources. And I had a cousin with delayed speech. I like medical too. I've had people in my family have strokes and had to go through different swallowing tests and everything. And it makes a big difference when that person in that room with you is not using medical terminology, but we can look like that's communication overall is just so important. And I know that one of my gifts, my grandma always told me this, I'm able to talk to a child as well as an older person. And I don't get so wrapped up in the language and the terms used to sound smart, but just making sure it's conveyed. I code switch with ease, okay? Like just making sure the information is conveyed. So and that's a lot to carry, but I feel like I can carry it, I can take it. Or if there's periods and times in my life where I don't need to, I think I know myself enough, and I've learned how important it is to keep up with yourself and know yourself enough so that you're always taken care of, because you can't be of service to anyone else if you're not. So yeah, long story short, they said at first, I'm definitely gonna go get my master's degree. I've been shadowing a speech language pathologist in a private practice. They had one black kid, y'all, out of all the weeks I was there. I shadowed at a hospital in a cancer unit, as well as I took physics. Hopefully I passed. Got 3 assignments I haven't done, and I'll be applying, taking my GRE, and I'll be applying. She's always like that. I'll be applying this fall to hopefully be in there August 2021. So put some prayer hands in the comments. Hit up my DMs. I was hoping that the juries would get canceled with the pandemic, but
they should have.
They're open in my state, and my state's numbers are going up. So, Governor.
For real though, it's okay to not, because I'm a control freak, low key. Like, I think I need to be in control of everything.
I think oftentimes we're raised to be liked, and that's in a very controlled manner.
Yeah, and I have no control over anything now.
So my thing is just like pick your Go to Chick-fil-A and get that 30 count, sis. You know, ride the bike next tomorrow. You know, like get that like. And also tomorrow we've seen with like our high school classmates and different things. Like tomorrow is not promised. You know, even this pandemic, people will take your job away. And so and that's where I'm at right now. That's another way I cope. Like I just day by day. If you can't take it day by day, you know, take it hour by hour. If you can't take it hour by hour, minute by minute, and just constantly remind yourself that you're doing the best you can with what you have. And if that's not a true statement, then maybe you need to do some introspection, but be gracious with yourself. You tell me that all the time. Be gracious with yourself, because I know that I would never.
Motivational stuff.
I have like once a week.
Yeah,
I
don't know. I know that I would never put myself in harm's way, and I think sometimes you get down on yourself for things you could have, should have, would have done, but you did not intentionally put yourself in that spot. And a lot of times it's things that you cannot control that put you in that spot. So the serenity prayer, if you're religious, if you're not, Lord, help me to accept the things that I cannot change, and something the wisdom to know the difference, and that get me through.
I mean, amen.
That period, amen, big facts. Okay, y'all, well, we're gonna wrap this thing up. You know, you can follow me. My Instagram is the same as this handle, Myra Raven 101. You can have me on Snapchat. I get up there when I like the thirst trap, just to keep it a buck. That's Myra Ray 95, and Facebook, Myra Parker. Well, yeah, we're supposed to be making a new channel after this. We're gonna see, because she don't have to do it, because I can't do my personal and my new, because y'all know it's been months since I posted. Asia, what can they follow you on Instagram?
You can follow me on Instagram at The Tolerant Teacher to see what I'm doing with my kids.
Okay.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Tolerant Teacher to hear me complain about education. What can they follow you on, Brittany?
That's not my name on Instagram. That's my name on Snapchat, I think. You know, Twitter.
What's Instagram then?
Jador.
Oh, that's
Jador
right.
with 2 E's, underscore Nicole.
I'll type it.
And then Twitter is Agape.
Underscore
Nicole.
Also follow me on My Treasure. That is my other Instagram page, in which, okay, so that used to be my Miss UNC page. Now it's that. And that page is gonna flip with me everywhere I go. So that's my page that it needs to be updated, just like my YouTube, but where I have the Google Forms link where you can get 4-step babysitting services. There's also a number that you can call, and we have quite a few openings, because technically I'm the only one that's working right now. So yeah, I don't know why my voice got a lot of vibrato, but thank you for watching. I hope you were encouraged. Leave a comment, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Follow us on our socials, and we definitely would do a video, like, I don't know, a few years to a month out, to see like what's changed and what's different.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Again, congrats to class of 2020. If like you've heard 3 different stories of like what we felt. Brittany, you were excited.
Yeah.
Asia was terrified, and I was disappointed.
Yeah.
Excited, terrified, and disappointed. Put that over our heads. Like, so it's okay to feel how you feel. It's okay to feel like you should have got something different. I mean, jealousy is okay too, but hopefully you can turn that jealousy into, okay, I wish that would have happened for me, it didn't, and move forward, you know. Hopefully I wouldn't recommend acting on your jealousy, because what's for you is for you, even when it doesn't feel like it. Did she say jail?
I just ignored her.
All right, y'all, bye.
It's okay. You're so dramatic.
That's what they do.
Well, you can't reach. Oh, we did it, y'all. Oh, I'm still recording.